What's going on, you guys? My name is the Raptor, and considering that we have over 80 questions to get through today, we're gonna have to go really fast. So without further ado, here it is, the Rappter Q&A number 16. I hope you guys enjoy. Steel Myers asks, what's your favorite comic book character? For me, it's pretty much a tie between Nightcrawler and Beast Boy. Those have always been my two favorites. However, of course, I like a lot of other superheroes. Some other superheroes that are really high up there for me include Flash, Spider-Man, and Hulk. What is your favorite death battle? My all-time favorite death battle is Wolverine versus Raiden. These are two badass characters, and I just love the way that they handled and analyzed the fight. I thought they did a really good job with that. And of course, the animation just speaks for itself. It's one of the best animations done on the show, in my opinion, if not the best. So yeah, I don't have too many bad things to say about it. I just really like the episode. What is your favorite video game? As of right now, my favorite video game is Smash Brothers, but I also really like to play Injustice a lot. I never owned Injustice 2, so I didn't play it that much. But I also played a lot of Skylanders and Disney Infinity when I was younger. So yeah, all those games are pretty good in my book. The Shush asks, what's your favorite death battle? Like I said before, Wolverine versus Raiden is my all-time favorite death battle, but if you want to know some other episodes that I really like, I also like Naruto versus Ichigo, Balrog versus TJ Combo, and Batman versus Spider-Man. What characters would you want in death battle? I would really like to see some Umbrella Academy characters come into death battle because it's what I'm really into right now, and I think they would make great additions to the show. If you want someone else, I'd also really like to see Stitch in death battle because he's actually very strong, and I think that would make for a very funny and cool fight dynamic. So yeah, those characters are who I want to see. How's your day? I actually haven't done too much so far today other than start to film this video and eat lunch. I woke up late, but to be fair, I really like doing those things. So today's been a pretty good day so far. Thanks for asking. Blake Peters asks, if you could hang out with any superhero for a day, who would it be and what would you do? It would either be Beast Boy or Spider-Man because they're much closer to my age and I think they would be more fun. Probably Beast Boy if I could choose between the two. And in terms of what we would do, I just think we would have like a blast downtown, you know, do as much as we can, see as much as we could see, you know, just I want to spend the day with Beast Boy, you know, and that really doesn't matter what we do. So yeah, something like that. Thanos Quack asks, nice shirt, where did you get it? This was referring to the shirt that I was wearing during the Q&A announcement video, which is the same shirt that I'm wearing right now. Thank you so much, I really like it too, and I have no idea where I got it from. I live in Canada, so I go shopping for most of my cool shirts in the US, so it was honestly probably in some sort of American Walmart or Target or something like that. That's my best guess. Favorite Death Battle quote? This quote technically didn't originate from Death Battle, but I loved when Iron Man told Lex Luthor, being a god can't be too hard. I mean, I'm the most intelligent, capable person on the planet. I'm not playing God. All this time, I've been playing human. I just think that's so badass. And some of the more recent quotes that I really like are, be mindful of your thoughts, Obi-Wan, they betray you, and I am the impossible. What inspired you to make Bad Battle the greatest show in all of existence? First of all, thank you so much, that really means a lot. And in terms of what inspired me, it was mostly just the toxicity of the Versus community that inspired me. There was so much about the toxic side of that community that I just really hate, so I figured why not poke some fun at it? I'm not trying to like change the community or anything like that, but it was just fun for me to do. It is fun for me to do, and it seems like you guys are having fun too, so that's all I could ask for. Jacob B asks, who would be a good opponent for the Punisher? If you're looking for someone other than Red Hood, then I would say that Judge Dredd would be a good opponent for Punisher. That's just my opinion. I've also heard a lot of people say Punisher versus the Thomas Wayne Batman, which I could see as well. There are actually a good number of opponents that Punisher could go up against, so yeah, you can just take your pick from there. Would you rather lose a foot or a hand? At first I was gonna say I would rather lose a hand because not having both feet can be super inconvenient, but then I remember that you can get prosthetics for both of them, and a hand is much more complicated to replicate than a foot would be. I would rather have two working hands than two working feet, as long as I could get a replacement for whatever I lost. So yeah, I would rather lose a foot. How have you been since the pandemic has started? Honestly, I've been up and down for a very long time since the pandemic. When the pandemic started, actually, I was in a very low spot, and the pandemic only started to make things worse, so that wasn't great. And since then, it's just been fluctuating a lot. I've had high points, I've had low points, but I recognize that things could still be a lot worse. So even when I don't feel great, you know, I still hang in there. Johnny Jokester asks, who is the most overrated superhero in your opinion? Personally, I would have to say Deadpool. I know that a lot of people like him, and I do too. He's one of my favorite anti-heroes, but he can really still get annoying at times, and not in the good way. And while he is impressive, a lot of people think he can just beat any character because of his healing, which just isn't true. So I feel like he's overrated in multiple ways, honestly. I get a lot of people still like like him, and I do too, but I still view him as being overhyped. Red Elastic 98 asks, what's at least one idea for who'd win and why that you would never do? I would never ever do Vision versus Martian Manhunter. As I've said many times on the channel, I do not like this fight at all for so many different reasons. I could never see myself doing it. And for some other fights, I don't think I would do any fights that Death Battle is confirmed to be doing. So like I wouldn't do Ruby versus Maka, I wouldn't do Galactus versus Unicron, because I'd rather let Death Battle do that stuff and I just wouldn't touch on it until the battle starts to come out. Who do you think is the deadlier villain, Carnage or Joker? In a straight up brawl, Carnage is more deadly than Joker, even with the Joker toxin in play. But if we're looking at this, with prep time, then Joker has the potential to be far deadlier than Carnage on a far greater scale. So it really just depends on what situation you put them in, but if we're talking about them in their preferred situations, then Joker just has the potential to be far more deadly than Carnage. Is the color of your wall green or gray? Some of you guys may be confused about this because I have switched back and forth between cameras sometimes, and not everything shows everything in the best detail. My walls are gray, at least I think so. I'm actually a bit color deficient myself, so I might not know for sure, but to my knowledge, yes, the color of my walls is gray. Bcasted147 asks, who do you think would win, the anime universe, the comics universe, or the cinematic universe? A good rule of thumb is that what's shown on screen is like 10 times less impressive than what's written down. So stuff like the anime and a cinematic universe would not be as impressive as the manga or the comics respectively. This isn't every single case, but it's a good rule of thumb. If I had to order them from least to best in terms of power, I would say cinematic universe, anime, manga, and then comics, at least when we're looking at the higher end Marvel and DC stuff. Again, this isn't for every case, but this is the way that I see it most of the time. How long does it take to research a character you don't know about, and what sources do you use to get answers? This can really depend on who the characters are and what sources are available on them. Like stuff like wikis and respect threads are obviously really great places to start, but then after that I just look at whatever other sources I can. Like if there are videos or pages that outline their best feats and their origin and stuff like that, then yeah, I'll look at that stuff too. Death Battle, if they've analyzed a character, that can be a great help. And then like if there's stuff that I can easily, readily watch or read that has the characters in there, then yeah, I'll look at that stuff too. It's whatever I can find. And this can take a while. Sometimes it can take many, many weeks. Although to be fair, I'm not spending all my time just researching because, life gets in the way. Have you been drinking enough water? I've been trying my best to drink more water nowadays, and I think it really has been helping. So thank you so much. I really do appreciate you asking that. Mike Box asks, what's your opinion on Injustice 2? Like I said before, I never owned Injustice 2, so I don't have a huge opinion on it, but it seems like it was definitely a step in the right direction for the franchise, and I did like a lot of characters that they decided to put into it. So yeah, it's a thumbs up from me. What's your least favorite trend in 2020? I don't really have a least favorite trend of 2020, so I'm just gonna say that all of 2020 is my least favorite trend, and personally, I feel pretty justified in that response. Character War asks, have you read Watchmen? No, I have not read Watchmen, nor have I seen the movie. I have read V for Vendetta, though, which I really enjoyed reading, so I'm sure I'm gonna get to Watchmen at some point because I'm intrigued by it, but as of right now, no, I haven't read it yet. Who's your favorite video game icon? There are a lot of video game icons that I like. Just to name a few, I really like Sonic, Cloud, Dante, and Scorpion. If I really had to pick one, it would probably be Sonic. What's your favorite of the Shonen 3? Naruto is definitely my favorite, and then I would probably say Bleach. I never really got into One Piece in any regard, although I have heard it's good. Supri asks, have you ever ridden a roller coaster that you felt like you might have died on? I remember I once rode an extremely rickety wooden roller coaster that I actually got hurt on quite a lot, so maybe I didn't think I was gonna die while riding it, but still, it was a very unpleasant experience. Never going back there again. Archie Knuckles or Goku Black? In terms of who I like more, I don't really have a preference, but in terms of who would win in a fight, I would want to say Archie Knuckles if he's even close to the level of Archie Sonic, though keep in mind, I don't really know him that well, so I don't know how powerful he is, and I don't know what abilities he has, so I don't really know. What do you think might be the battle after Venom versus Krona? Well, obviously we know that Red versus Blue is coming after Venom versus Krona, but in terms of the one after that, they could do another Halloween episode if they really wanted to, because the next episode slot would be the closest to the date of Halloween, so they could do Jason versus Michael if they really wanted to, I guess. This is probably unlikely, but it's the most amount of evidence that I can go off of, so yeah, there you go. Marlon Cardoso asks, what's your favorite Sonic character from the games? Sonic has always been my personal favorite, but I also like a lot of other characters like Tails, Rouge, and Eggman. Personally, I never really got into the tough or edgy characters like Knuckles and Shadow very much, but yeah, that's just me. GamerSonic764 Official asks, if you could see any character in Death Battle, who would you like to see? I already answered this before. I would either like to see Stitch or the Umbrella Academy characters in Death Battle. If you want someone else, maybe Spock as well. I think he's a really cool character, and it would be a cool introduction to the Star Trek universe. universe, unless they wanted to start with Captain Kirk versus Han Solo to introduce Star Trek. Who should Remy face? Realistically, probably Stuart Little is his most likely opponent, although I'm sure you could have a lot of different fun joke fights with that kind of character. What Marvel or DC character would you like to see in Death Battle? Definitely would have to be Beast Boy, not just because he's one of my favorite characters, but also because he's a lot more powerful in the comics than I think a lot of people realize, and I'd like Death Battle to show off just how powerful he can really be, because a lot of people sleep on him when talking about him in versus debates, and it infuriates me. So yeah, it would definitely be Beast Boy. Swag James asks, favorite video game movie? Personally, I really like the Sonic movie. It was way better than I expected it was gonna be. I never saw Pokemon Detective Pikachu, so apologies, I can't really talk about that one. And a lot of the other video game movies I've seen just aren't very good. So yeah, I would probably say Sonic as of right now. What video games have you played recently? Right now, it's basically all Smash Bros with a little bit of Ultimate Alliance 3. I don't save myself a lot of time for playing video games nowadays, so I don't bother playing or buying a lot of different video games at once, but honestly, that's perfectly fine with me. I'm perfectly content just playing Smash Bros for right now. What are some death battles you want to see happen? The fight that I want to see the most is Galactus versus Unicron. That's the fight I've wanted to see forever on the show, and it sucks that they still haven't done it yet. If you want more information on what fights I'd like to see for Death Battle, you can click on the video on my channel, which is titled like Top 5 Death Battle Ideas for Season 7 or something like that, and I'll be doing another one of those videos closer to the end of the year, so be on the lookout for that. Alex Chen asks, do you play Smash Bros? And if so, who are your favorite characters to use? Yes, I do play Smash Bros, and the characters that I like to use the most are Wolf and Cloud, although I also do a lot of 5-on-5 Squad Strike, and for those I like to use Wolf, Cloud, Link, Sonic, and Terry. Bao Sir asks, what are your predictions for the Season 7 finale of Death Battle? This might just be wishful thinking, but I would honestly say Galactus versus Unicron, because it's one of their most highly requested fights, if not their most highly requested fight now, and they're coming up to their 10-year anniversary at the end of Season 7, so I think it would be perfect to do that. And one other piece of evidence I have is that the reason why they said they did All Might versus Might Guy as the Season 6 finale is they said that after they went to space, they didn't want to go to space again. They wanted to have like a more grounded season finale, which makes me think that they might have another space battle lined up, and I think that Galactus versus Unicron fits that bill. So yeah, my guess would be Galactus versus Unicron, but of course I could be wrong. At RTX, the Death Battle cast mentioned that Season 8 would have matchups that they've had history with. What are your predictions for what they could be? Well, I'm not really sure what having history with exactly means, but I guess that could mean that Galactus versus Unicron could happen in Season 8 if it doesn't happen as the Season 7 finale. I could also see them doing another rematch or a remastered episode if that's what they mean, like they've had history with episodes. God, I hope it doesn't mean Goku versus Superman 3. But yeah, any fight that's just heavily associated with them in any way, I could definitely see them tackling in Season 8. What is your least favorite Death Battle season besides the first one? I would have to say Season 3. For me, it overall had the most problematic fights, or the most generally regarded as problematic fights, and it just had a lot of fights that I wasn't personally too interested in. It did have a good mix of 2D and 3D fights, but it did feel like a dip in quality in some other areas. Tristan Waits asks, who wins, Man-Bat versus Morbius? I am not going to answer that, because that may or may not be an upcoming episode of Who, When, and Why Season 12, so yeah, just be on the lookout for that. If you had the Omnitrix or the Green Lantern ring, which one would you pick? Overall, I think that the Omnitrix is flashier and more cool than the Green Lantern ring, but in a world where I don't have to save the world or fight anyone, I feel like a Green Lantern ring would be more practical and useful since it's not just for combat. So I personally would go with a Green Lantern ring. If Venom met Sinister Strange, how would the fight go, and could Venom defeat him? See, the problem with Sinister Strange is that he's a made-up character, so any real character that you put him up against that has real feats and real scaling, you know, that character is going to be at an inherent advantage because Sinister Strange doesn't have any scaling to go off of. So Venom is automatically stronger and faster and more durable just from scaling. I mean, like, Sinister Strange might have a spell that could end the fight quickly if he pulled it out fast enough, but I feel like more times than not, Venom would just be able to overwhelm him and rip him in half. Fiction Rumble asks, are you planning to join Twitter? As of right now, I would say no, because I personally never really saw the appeal of Twitter. I could never see myself getting really into it, honestly. Although I still have my Snapchat and I still have my Instagram, which I'm perfectly fine with having right now. Are you a fan of communities other than the Versus community on YouTube? I watch a lot of comedy videos on YouTube, and I don't mean stuff from like well-known comedians like John Mulaney or anything like that. I mean like Jax Films and Ryan George, you know, stuff that's made to make you laugh, so I watch those a lot. I also watch some gaming videos every now and then, but I'm not as into those kinds of things as I am with Versus debating, because that's just the kind of stuff I like. I'm a nerd. That's it. Are there any lost projects or media with your YouTube career? As of right now, I can only think of one video that I actually put together that I never made public. None of you guys know this, by the way, but for this passing April Fool's Day, like April Fool's Day 2020, I was gonna make a video public that basically said that my channel was getting shut down by COPPA or whatever the hell, because I thought it would be funny. I thought it would give some people a scare. But like 10 minutes before it was about to go public, I was thinking to myself, no, this is too mean. I can't post this. So I deleted it. That video never came out. I don't have it anywhere. I completely deleted it. But yeah, that was almost an April Fool's Day joke. So yeah, there you go. Thomas Wiersema asks, should Riptor from Killer Instinct return to Death Battle? I personally don't know if Riptor has any great opponents, although the last fight we saw him in was basically just a joke fight between him and Yoshi. Like, I know they were still taking it seriously, but it was more of like a silly fight, you know? So it would be cool to see him come back in a more serious fight. And you know, I don't really have a preference whether or not he comes back because I'm not too into Killer Instinct. But yeah, I could definitely see the case for bringing him back. Who would win in a fight between Cuphead and Bendy? I'm not too familiar with those characters, so I can't really say for sure. I've heard a lot of people say that Cuphead is more powerful, but I think I've also heard a lot of people say that Bendy is like ridiculously hard to kill or something. So it's kind of a toss-up. I'm not really sure. Pakavon Sobi asks, what do you think about Death Battle Season 7 so far? Honestly, I've really enjoyed Season 7. So far, I would put it probably as like my third or fourth favorite Death Battle season overall, something like that. And yeah, I just think they've been consistently good this time around, and I hope the consistency keeps up for the remaining episodes. If Sakura comes to Death Battle, who do you think would face her? The best opponent I can come up with for her is Rukia from Bleach, and even then I don't think that's a great fight. Sakura's a hard one to find opponents for, honestly, so I'm not sure if she'll come to Death Battle, although who knows. Who's your favorite symbiote character in Marvel? Definitely Carnage. I've always liked him a lot more than Venom. Sorry for all you Venom fans. I still like Venom, I just like Carnage more. And there are a lot of cool symbiotes nowadays, but I think that Carnage will always be my favorite. I think he's just an awesome character. Simon O'Brien asks, do you prefer Wonder Woman or Captain Marvel? Definitely Wonder Woman, both in terms of the character and the movie. I just think she's a more enjoyable character to follow, but you know, that's just my opinion. How do you feel about chickens being related to the Tyrannosaurus Rex? I have never so aggressively been perfectly okay with something. I don't know, I think that's pretty cool. Who is your favorite fictional dragon? It's a tie between Toothless and Spyro. Toothless because How to Train Your Dragon 2 is one of my favorite movies ever made, and Spyro because, come on, it's Spyro. Void Tack asks, what's your 5-year business plan for your YouTube channel? As of right now, I don't have a 5-year business plan for this YouTube channel because right now it's just a hobby. You know, I do make a tiny bit of money off of the videos that I make, but it's like super tiny, and I don't expect this to become a full-blown career. I expect this to stay my hobby for as long as I do YouTube. And yeah, I don't really have an end date, like a time where I think I'm gonna stop doing YouTube, but I think that's a good thing. I don't wanna have an end date in mind. I just wanna keep doing this until I can't do it anymore, or for some reason I don't feel like I need it anymore. So yeah, something like that, you know? I don't have a 5-year business plan. I just like doing this because I like doing it, and I think that's perfectly fine. Super Mario Plushes asks, what's your favorite Pokemon? I would say Mewtwo is my favorite. I don't have a ton of knowledge on a lot of different Pokemon out there, so I don't have a big pool to choose from, but I really like Mewtwo as a concept, so yeah, I would say him. What is your favorite thing to do? My favorite thing to do, honestly, is this YouTube channel. I like to act a lot in high school, but I'm out of high school now, so I don't act nearly as much. But yeah, as of right now, my favorite thing to do is this YouTube channel. It's the thing that gives me the most pride. So yeah, there you go. What is your favorite death battle in each season? Going season by season, my favorite death battles are Batman vs. Spider-Man, Wolverine vs. Raiden, Dante vs. Bayonetta, Naruto vs. Ichigo, Doctor Strange vs. Dr. Fate, the Mega Man Battle Royale, and Obi-Wan Kenobi vs. Kakashi. Cody Lane the Dragon asks, do you prefer Coca-Cola or Pepsi-Cola? I used to like Coke more, and I probably still do like Coke more a tiny bit, but honestly, they're practically equal to me, and I would be perfectly fine with either one. So yeah, that's probably what I would say. Like Joker, what other DC villains would have a solo movie? The only other character from DC that I would really like to see a movie like that about would be Lex Luthor, because I think he has a really interesting story to tell, and I think if they did it like Joker, it could be really cool. I could also see that happening for Doctor Doom, honestly. I don't think Marvel is gonna go down that route, but if they did, I would love to see a Doctor Doom Joker-like movie, you know what I mean? Because again, a very interesting story to tell, and I just think it would be badass. Would you feel interested in seeing a future action movie about a boy who can turn into a dragon called Dragon Man starring Jaden Smith? Yeah, I think I would. That definitely sounds like a fun idea. Silent Sword asks, if Darth Vader were to return to Death Battle, who do you think he could fight? I've heard a lot of people say Darth Vader versus Voldemort, of course, but I feel like that's just going to be another Luke versus Harry. I've heard a lot of people say Darth Vader versus Obito, but again, I feel like that's going to be more of like another Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Kakashi. They are a bit different, but still. Honestly, I would like to see Darth Vader versus Sauron from Lord of the Rings. I don't know how close of a fight that is, especially if you were to incorporate legends for Darth Vader, but still, I think that's the most unique fight out of the potential matchups, so I would say that. Cinnamon Simon 66 asks, can Spider-Man defeat Team Ruby all by himself? That would definitely be a pretty big undertaking for Spider-Man. I want to say that he could do it if he was at the top of his game. I think he has the potential to take them all down, but I could also see a lot of scenarios where the Huntresses just overwhelm Peter. Very interesting idea. What's Kratos' power level? I'm gonna be perfectly honest, I have no idea how powerful Kratos is. Apparently he got a lot more powerful in his new game, and that's just not the kind of power level that I'm used to with Kratos, so I'm just really not sure. My advice would just be to ask a more reliable source, because as of right now, I am just completely lost with Kratos. So yeah, sorry about that. Are you getting the PS5? Most likely I won't be. Again, I have a Switch right now, which is all I need at the moment. I don't have a lot of time for playing video games like I said before, so I don't really feel the need to buy a new console right now. So as of right now, just having a Switch and playing Smash Brothers is all I need in terms of video games. Elijah Walker asks, would you rather be immune to blistering cold and ice or intense heat and fire? I would want to be immune to the cold, because even though I feel like I'm more affected by hot temperatures than cold temperatures, I also feel like I'd be put into more positions where I would want a resistance to crazy cold temperatures rather than scorching hot ones. So yeah, a resistance to the cold. Which two lantern colors would you choose, excluding white and black? Well, if white and black are off limits, then it's basically just a matter of which emotions I feel like I'm more in tune with. So I would want to say green and indigo for willpower and compassion. I feel like those ones suit me best. Way back in the day, it probably would have been orange for greed somewhere in there. But yeah, as of right now, I would probably say green for willpower and indigo for compassion. If you had a mech that could fight against Godzilla, what creature would it be and what would it have in its arsenal? Well, the creature would be a dragon, because why not? And I would probably have it somewhat similar to Mechagodzilla, but more so for close range combat rather for long range combat. So I could still see myself having the absolute zero cannon, but as opposed to a lot of long range weaponry, I feel like I would have more physical enhancement kind of stuff, if that makes any sense. Dinah Lance asks, who do you think would win between Wonder Woman and Voldemort? Wonder Woman would definitely beat Voldemort. She's just way too fast and she's definitely capable of killing him, and anything that Voldemort has in his arsenal, he would just be way too slow to use. So yeah, I would definitely say Wonder Woman. Do you feel like Wonder Woman needs to be boosted in her movie? If you mean like a power boost, she already got one at the end of her first movie, so I don't think she needs another massive one again. I could definitely see her training and getting better with her fighting ability and everything like that, but in terms of like an instant power upgrade like she got at the end of her first movie, I don't really think she needs another one of those, but that's just my opinion. Steven Stryker asks, have you ever heard of Cartoon Fight Club? Yes, I have heard of Cartoon Fight Club, although I do not watch it nearly as much as I watch Death Battle. Who would win between Carnage and Pennywise? Pennywise is definitely more powerful than Carnage in a vacuum, although I'm not sure if Pennywise could actually exploit Carnage's fears and kill him that way. It might be difficult to do that, but then again, Carnage doesn't really have a surefire way of killing Pennywise permanently at all, so I think it's more likely that Pennywise would win that fight. If Death Battle ever did a meme fight, what should it be? It would either need to be a huge battle royale with a ton of different popular memes, or it would need to be a one-on-one fight with Ultra Instinct Shaggy. Who he would fight, I have no idea, but yeah, those are just my ideas. Son of a Pirate asks, do you like Britain? I can say that I do not have a negative opinion of Britain. I was there once and I had fun, so yeah, it's a good place. Chris Evans for president? Unironically, no. But it is a fun thought to visualize. Quicksilver or Spider-Man in terms of their story and how interesting they are? Quicksilver definitely has a more complicated and convoluted origin story than Spider-Man does, assuming you're looking at Spider-Man's original origin story and not any of those weird theorized ones added later on. But I feel like Spider-Man is just a more interesting character, and he has a much deeper and greater message that's synonymous with that character. So I would say Spider-Man. Kedar Swaminathan, I apologize for butchering your name, asks, what's your favorite anime series? If you include Ruby as an anime series, then I kind of flip-flop back and forth between Ruby and Naruto. If you don't include it as an anime series, then I would say Naruto, although there's a lot of cool anime out there like Dragon Ball, Fairy Tail, My Hero Academia, etc, etc. So yeah, there you go. Akira the Kitsune asks, do you want to do Ladybug versus Randy Cunningham? In terms of my own versus series, probably not, because I just had Ladybug on the show and I don't know that much about Randy Cunningham, but in terms of it actually becoming a death battle, I think that'd be really cool. I think it would be a nice fight and it would be a good introduction to their own respective series. So yeah, that's my answer. What franchises do you want Death Battle to do? Again, I answered this before. I want to see Umbrella Academy characters in Death Battle. I think it's unlikely, but I still want to see them there. A more likely series that I think could pop up that I'd like to see is Percy Jackson. You know, if they could find any good fights with those Percy Jackson characters, I think that'd be really cool as well. Can you watch Yokai University on Simba Cartoon Fans channel? If you mean like actually react to those videos, then probably not, because I don't like reacting to videos that aren't Death Battle anymore, but I'll still be sure to check it out later on my own time. Lucas Green asks, what's one Spider-Man villain that you would like to see in the MCU that hasn't been used yet? Technically, Scorpion is already in the MCU as Mac Gargan, but I really want to see him suit up. I really want to see him become the Scorpion. But if you're talking about someone that hasn't even entered the picture at all, then we have to have Kraven in a battle at some point, right? Like, he's one of the big villains that they haven't used yet, and I think it would just be so much fun to see on screen. Would you buy a PS4 now that it's cheaper thanks to the PS5? Like I said, I'm perfectly fine just sticking with my Nintendo Switch because I don't spend a lot of time on video games anyway. If I were to get a new console, it probably wouldn't be for a very long time, and you know what, that's perfectly fine with me. I'm just fine sticking with my Switch and playing my Smash Bros. Would you consider playing Brawlhalla, aka a Smash Bros-like game? Maybe I'll look into it one day, but again, I'm not super interested in looking into new games right now, but I do really appreciate the recommendation, and I'll be sure to keep it in mind. And that brings us to the end of the Q&A. Guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and it still probably ended up being ridiculously long. I haven't started editing it yet, so I don't know. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please give this video a huge like. I always appreciate likes. Leave your comments down in the comments below. Subscribe if you could too, that would be amazing. But no matter what you guys do, thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And yep, that's it for me. I will see all of you guys in the next video. Peace out.